The one thing I try to do in my books is make sure that if you listen to the first few pages, that you can't stop. So all they have to do is listen to the first 2 pages, and I hope they'll just be pulled through it. I actually listen to a lot of books on tape. Yes, audible.com, and I know you're audible.de. Yes, I admit I get books from Audible. I enjoy them. When I exercise, I find it's a great way, or in the car, it's a way to have more hours a day to read. I love it. I listen to it often. You know, it's fun. One of my hopes in writing Inferno was that readers would either rediscover Dante or perhaps discover him for the first time, come to understand his enormous influence on our vision of hell, which has lasted 700 years since Dante, and also maybe appreciate some of the artwork that Dante has inspired. And I've heard from people who are saying, you're right, Dante is one of those things you think you know it, and then you think about it and you say, you know what, I don't really know it. It's one of those things you feel like you should know. So here's an opportunity to go and learn a little bit about it. I will have read a lot about the city before I go and have certain ideas of where I want to go. But the first time I go incognito. I go with a hat and glasses and a different name, and I just explore. And for example, if I came to Cologne, I'd go to the cathedral and I'd just get to know the city. And then I would go back and start to write a little bit. And as I wrote, I would start to get a better sense of what I wanted to include from Cologne, for example. And then I would come back. I would call ahead and I would say, I'm Dan Brown. I'm coming to Cologne to the cathedral. I'd like to see something special. And the curator would generally say, "Wonderful, come. Let me show you the cathedral," which for me is a great luxury, and that's a new aspect in my life, and I'm very fortunate. There are so many stories in German, I wouldn't know where to begin. So everything is possible. No promises, but this is a magical place, and I'm happy to be here. One of the reasons I travel for research is because little moments that you don't anticipate spark scenes in the book. One of the scenes in Inferno takes place in the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence, in a secret passage that I was walking through. And the guide brought us to a wall. It was a dead end. And they said, push the wall. And the wall spun around. And I stepped out into the map room that was filled with tourists. It was a map of Armenia that was actually spinning that I was able to step through. And that was a secret exit for this passageway. And that experience led me to write that into the book, that Langdon escapes through that map of Armenia. So just a lucky moment. You know, I obviously control Robert Langdon to some degree, but his intellect and his curiosity inspires me to learn what I need to learn to make him do what he has to do, his knowledge of symbols and codes and all of that. And when I finish a book, I do miss spending every day with Robert Langdon. There's usually a writing time and an editing time. It's very important to give your brain a little bit of distance from what you've written so you can come back as a reader. Where you don't anticipate the next word. So you come back and you say, I'm a reader. And you just read it and you say, you know what, I need to be a little bit more in depth here. This section here, I got a little carried away. I got too excited about the cathedral and I wrote 3 pages when it really only should be 1. So those pages come out. It's really a process of thinning. You run a comb constantly through your manuscript to balance it out and make it even. And if you do your job, every page is exciting. When I finish a book, I usually, I don't usually go on tour, I'll tell you that much. This is strange for me to come on tour. But I usually take a little bit of time off and I do something athletic outside, nothing to do with words. Maybe I'll go hiking, or my wife and I will travel or go sailing, or something calm that has no words involved. Composing music and composing books is very similar. Music is about creating tension and release. It's about rhythm. It's about structure. It's about mood and ambiance and smoothness of form. And all of that is a skill that you learn while composing music that carries over into writing. And I don't think I would be the same writer if I hadn't written music. A blurb? There was a great blurb from Michelangelo to Dante, and Langdon was just saying, this would be a great blurb. I mean, you get Michelangelo to say that the world has never seen a greater man than Dante. That's a good blurb. All of my fans, when I meet them on the street and they say, I read your book and I love it, that to me is the best blurb ever. And some of them say, I listened to your book and it was the best book I ever listened to. So those two. I really believe that writing is 10% inspiration, 10% those moments, When you're in a cathedral and you say, I want to share the history of that stained glass. Or when you're sitting at your desk typing and you say, oh, great, my fans are going to love that. That's a great little twist. That's only 10% of your life. 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration. Saying, you know what, this is hard work. And to get Langdon from here to here is hard work. And to make sure that I create something that my fans are going to find interesting, exciting, thrilling, educational, inspirational, all those things, it's hard. But those little moments are so powerful that they somehow make you just keep going.